Hi, my name is Sameep Padora. I run a design and research practice in Mumbai. I'm also one of the co-founders of the Bandra Collective, an organization that's been actively involved in looking at the design of public spaces in the city. The city is a complex organization. It is typically seen through the lens of the development plan, the building code, and other such formal mechanisms. However, there is an entire city that operates in between these formal mechanisms, what I kind of refer to as a city in between. And it is this nature of the city that we look to research and document. We found that many projects built back in the early 1900s looked at the city not as a disconnected entity from the building itself, but actually as an inherent part of the way that the city exists even within the building. There are numerous projects in the city that prescribe to this idea of context. For instance, the Swadeshi market, built back in the early 1900s, is one such project where the city does not stop at its edge. The city actually extends through in the manner of double-height streets that allow you to move from one part of the city to the other through the heart of the building. What is exactly private, what is public is not defined with a hard edge, but it's amorphous. It allows mutation, allows change over time. We've worked with local resident groups, local councillors, corporators to try and create spaces that would work for the local residents, at the same time would also have meaning for the larger cities. So for instance, it need not just be about the physical materials that you use in a space, though those are important, but it's also about the kind of programs that you put in. On the Carter Road Promenade, we actually looked at doing this entire 1.3 kilometer long stretch. We looked at paving patterns that would create greater engagement. We looked at creating seating systems that would allow people to congregate. Park where under the shade of trees to become a little bit more usable for senior citizens. We were also simultaneously looking at other programs, for instance, something that might be completely counterintuitive to the nature of that space, like the skate park that we finally put in, but something that also is able to attract people from all over the city. So today when you actually go to the skate park, it's always full. There are kids who come in from Borivali, Vashi, Dharavi to come in and skate in the parks. The park attracts a completely new demographic. That, I think, is only possible when you engage with the immediate context and with the local to be able to anticipate what could be transformative in the way that a space is imagined in the city. We participated in this competition that the MCGM along with WRI hosted, that was in Vikhroli. Because of the already existing median that had a couple of trees and people using it for relaxation, we actually designed the entire cross-section of the street again to allow for a much larger median that would also become a greenway for people to move from one end to the other. We did mock-ups of this on site to see if traffic gets impacted because of the lessening of the section, and found that it all worked fantastically. So this again was something that we were able to do because we were constantly looking at ways to intervene to create again a kind of space that in conventional wisdom not be the immediate solution to reimagining that street. I think is significant, and it also kind of points the way that in a way to kind of look at the city, let's say excavates hidden possibilities that many of these spaces might actually have. For instance, in the Vikhroli project, what we were also trying to do with the park was to imagine it becoming a connector for people who were working in offices at one end of the connector down to the other end where the metro stop was located. So for us, the park was not just to be viewed as a recreation space, but also as a space for people to move on, walking from their offices down to the metro stop. For us, all of these programs, whether the park or the promenade, are almost like a mosaic of different kinds of activities and programs that gets overlaid to create a fabric that is rich and it's not defined by only one particular kind of use. And the fact that there are multiple uses on one project or in one part of the project allows for a completely different set of people to use it in different ways during different times of the day as well. So it's a space that also changes temporally. In one of our projects to reimagine the Maharashtra Nature Park, we were also starting to look at the interface that the park actually had with the city, and how can an edge between the park and the city become something that was activated through program, through ways that passers-by would engage with the park, through little vantage points that we had built, that you could look down into the park from higher levels. Built-in benches for people who were standing at bus stops to sit in and wait for their buses to come. The Bandra Collective, in some sense, came about from this desire to improve our own neighborhood. When we talk about the development plan of the city, we imagine it operating citywide. The idea of tactical urbanism is to be able to inform these large level plans with interventions that are extremely local, are extremely specific to place, networked within resident groups and other such stakeholders who might influence or be influenced by a particular location. And I think that is one of the reasons why tactical urbanism is such an important tool, where you can actually start looking at real change that could happen immediately, or at least quicker than these large-scale projects would. It's important for all of us as citizens, as professionals who might have the training and expertise to participate in reimagining the spaces that are immediate to us, through talking with local resident groups, with stakeholders, to think about ways that we would like our own environments to change.